Hi. There are footballers who plays the game, and then there are footballers who completely controls it. Some players dominate with skill, some dominate with power, some dominate with intelligence. But once in a generation, a player arrives with everything: speed, strength, technique, vision, goal, leadership. And for almost a decade, that player was Yaya Touré. He was 6 feet 2, built like a heavyweight boxer, but moved like a number 10. He could dribble through the entire midfield and score screamers from 30 yards, control games with elegancy, bullied opposition with physicality at the same time. At his peak, he looked unstoppable. But strangely, even today, many football fans don't talk much about Yaya Touré. Yes, Yaya Touré. So today on 90 Minutes with Ayan, we celebrate the career, the greatness and the legacy of one of the most complete midfield footballer we have ever seen. This story is of Yaya Touré. Before the fame, before the Premier League titles, before the Manchester City became a giant, there was a young boy growing in Ivory Coast. Yaya Touré was born in Ivory Coast in 1983. Football wasn't luxury there. It was survival, hope, escape. And the football ran in his family. His older brother, Touré, who also became a professional footballer, and the Touré brothers push each other consistently. But even at the young age, people notice something special about Yaya. Not just talent, calmness. He played football like someone who already understands the games for years ahead of everyone else. Most young players panic under pressure. Yaya looked relaxed, like football was easy for him. His journey across Europe was not glamorous at first. He played for a Belgium club. Then he went to Ukraine. From there he went to Greece. Different countries, different language, different culture. No social media hype, no superstar headlines, just hard work. And slowly people started recognizing this midfielder was different. Scouts began talking, manager began noticing. Eventually, one of the biggest club in the world came calling, FC Barcelona. Let's move to our next chapter, Barcelona and the greatness. Joining Barcelona sounds like a dream, but Yaya Touré com- was complicated. It was complicated for Yaya Touré because he was not just this was not just any Barcelona side. This was this was the beginning of one of the greatest team football ever seen. Dressing room filled with legends like Lionel Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Eto, and later managed by Pep freaking Guardiola. Now imagine this: you are physically one of the strongest player in Europe, but you are surrounded by a midfield whose game is built on passing perfection. Yaya had to adapt, and yes, he did. One of the underrated part of his career was his intelligence. People remember the power runs, the goal, the physical dominant he was, but technically he was brilliant. He could play defensive midfield, central midfield, attacking midfield, even center back if needed. In fact, during 2009 Champions League final against Manchester United, Yaya Touré played a centre back. Against one of the best attackers in the world, he was excellent. Barcelona won Champions League. And that season, they completed the historical treble. But despite of all the success, there was one problem. Yaya uh, be more uh, wanted to be more than a supporting character. He he didn't just wanted to set into greatness. He wanted to lead into it. and eventually he left Barcelona. At the time, some people questioned the move. You're leaving Barcelona. But nobody realized football history was about to change. Yes, Manchester City enters. When Manchester City signed Yaya Touré in 2010, the club had money but didn't know yet his identity. They were trying to become elite. They were trying to compete with giants like Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Yaya Touré became the symbol of the transformation. Not just because he was talented, but because he delivered in the biggest moment. Some midfielders control the games quietly. Yaya controlled game dramatically. He would suddenly pick up the ball, run through the four players, and smash the ball into top right corner. Like a striker, like a tank, like someone who's playing in a different spot. And then came 2011 FA Cup semi-final against Manchester freaking United. Yaya scores, City wins. Then in that FA Cup final, Yaya scored again. City wins with the first major trophy in the decade. That moment was madness. Because trophy changed mentality, Yaya helped turn Manchester City from a rich club into a winners. And his greatest season, 2013-2014, without a question. That season was ridiculous. 20 Premier League goal as a midfielder. Let me repeat that again. 20 Premier League goals. No penalty, no tap-ins, world-class goals, free kick, long shot, solo goals, big games performances. It honestly felt unfair when there were games where he looked completely unstoppable. What made him terrifying was the defender didn't know how to stop him. Too strong to push off the ball, too technical to tackle cleanly, too intelligent to press recklessly. You could not press him high. You could not give him space. And once he started running forward, it's over. Personally, 2013-2014 is genuinely one of the greatest midfielder season in Premier League history. Not good, not underrated, but one of the greatest. And many players who played with him says the same thing, right? One of the best way to and this is the irony. One of the best way to understand a footballer is to listen to the people who played with him. And almost everyone describes Yaya Touré the same way. Unique. Vincent Kompany once described him as a player who could decide a game completely on his own. Sergio Aguero praises his ability to dominate physically, technically at the same time. Pep freaking Guardiola, despite later tensions between them, he spoke about Yaya Touré. He told he is unbelievable talent. Many fans debate the greatest Premier League midfielder ever. Right? You hear players like Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira, Frank Lampard, Gerrard, Paul Scholes, Giggs. Yaya Touré was absolutely in that conversation. Because at his peak, they are many not have been a major complete midfielders like him. He could defend, create, dribble, score, lead, control the tempo, and dominate physically. Oh God. Usually player master one or two things. Yaya master almost everything. However, when we move to our final chapter, every good thing comes to an end, the decline of the great man. But football changes quickly. Managers change, system change, age catch up, and eventually Pep Guardiola arrives in Manchester City. Again, the same manager he worked with at Barcelona. At this time, the relationship became difficult. There were public tension, comments through the media, questions about his role in the squad, and slowly Yaya began playing less. Now, this is important. Lot of football fans remember the ending, but ending should never erase the greatness. Yes, his final year at Manchester City was quieter. Without without Yaya Touré, Manchester City rise probably happened very differently. It would have happened very differently. He helped build the winning mentality. He helped establish the dominance. He changed expectation at the club forever. And when he finally left, felt like end of an era. But internationally, this is the club version of Yaya. Let's talk about internationally. Yaya Touré was not just a club legend. For Ivory Coast, he was icon. He played alongside Didier Drogba, Kolo Touré, right, the greatest there is in Africa. He presented a golden generation of African footballer, and individually, his achievements were massive. African Footballer of the Year, 4 times in a row. 4 times in the row. That tells you everything, because Africa has produced incredible player around the years, right? For several years, Yaya stood above all of them. He became a proof that African midfielder could dominate the world football technically, tactically, and physically. He inspired the entire generation. But after retirement, what's Yaya doing, right? What is Yaya doing today at 2026? What Yaya is doing after retiring from professional football? Yaya moved into coaching and football development. He completed coaching batches, began working with young players and the clubs in development role. He also worked in coaching environment, connected with clubs and academic while learning management from experienced staff. Unlike some former players who stay connected with the spotlight, Yaya took quite a route after retirement. But football still respect him deeply. And every few months, a clip of prime Yaya Touré goes viral, right? That midfield run, the long range goal, the ridiculous piece of control. Young fans ask, how was this guy so good? And honestly, there is no easy answer. Because players like Yaya Touré players like Yaya Touré almost never move like that, right? And football history often remember forwards the loudest, the goal scorers, the flashy stars. The true football fans remembered midfielders differently, because midfielder controls emotion, rhythm, power, chaos for years. Yaya controlled it all. He was elegant, destructive player combined into one player. Elegancy and destruction combined into one player. Midfielders who would like to play a midfielder who like to play a playmaker role, and dominate like a striker. Player who helped transform Manchester City forever, and maybe one of the most complete footballer the Premier League has ever seen. This was not just a great player, this was force of nature. And for anyone lucky enough to watch him live, you already know prime Yaya Touré was absolutely terrific. Wow, he was terrifying. Thank you for watching 90 Minutes with Ayan. See you in the next one.